This is Omni Sports Breakfast. Sports with Kevin, McCallum and MKT.
Hugo Broos is bringing back standards to the Bafana Bafana jersey. Jayden Adams was sent home for arriving late at camp. And one thing that's really come to the fore again, it had kind of faded out, but it's coming back now with European coaches coming back into African football instead of African coaches coaching African players. And it's, football is a really, really interesting one. So we'll get into all of that. Football is one of the things that represents a culture. It's the one sport that truly represents the man on the ground. I've heard it be described by Simon Critchley as the working class ballet. You want to see football, it often reflects the society you come from. I read a book about after the the Brazil 2014 World Cup when Germany went and won there, and they did this data analytics of every society. Their football team looks like the society, and of course Germany had won, and Germany through this data analytics had actually been projected to go and win in Brazil. So football truly, if you want to know what a country is doing, is a really, really good indicator of where things are. So it's been a bit of chaos for Bafana Bafana since, I would argue since 1996, which is when they won AFCON, right? For us old people that remember all of that. Jayden Adams was sent home, this young, brilliant midfielder from Stellenbosch. He arrived late after the MTN 8 final last week. And all Pirates and Stellenbosch players who played in the final on the Saturday reported for camp on Sunday. Jayden Adams did not arrive, didn't explain himself, and when he reportedly wanted to arrive, Hugo Broos said, no. That no longer works. That will work, but not here. So it was very, very interesting. And I think it caught South African fans off. According to, I was looking on social media, I texted a journalist who's big in the sort of South African football world. It caught everyone by surprise. It's like, wait, we don't do that here. Jayden Adams is a star. We treat them with reverence. Hugo Broos says, absolutely not. And Kev, don't know if you saw Hugo Broos come out and address this, but he said it looks like the man is having none of that nonsense anymore.
Yeah, no, he's not taking any sort of shrift from young guys who think they can do what they want. He spoke about the fact that he took on a lot of the blame himself. He spoke about it, as we mentioned in the headlines, his own complacency. He said, perhaps I haven't been sharp enough. Perhaps I haven't been harsh enough on the players. I need them to be ruthless. Our defense is porous. I mean, it's holes, even with Ron Williams back there. So he's going to get hard. So listen, we were lucky against Uganda. We were lucky against South Sudan. We need to win. We need to be ruthless. We need to be winners.
I want to come back to that complacency, but let me start here. Was it right that Adams was sent home after arriving late?
Yeah, well, I don't. You don't arrive to play in green and gold or gold and green, and for your national team unless you really want it. It's not a given. It's not an entitlement. It's one of the most important things that you can do.
And I think it's a good lesson for young people is that if you want more, you've got to do more. And if you want to be a part of something great, what Hugo Broos is clearly showing everybody is that he's had enough of this. He's had enough of being a part of something mediocre. Yes, we did okay at the last AFCON, but for him, that's not enough. And what I'm enjoying about this is, again, I will reference in our own country, the one sports team that is constantly successful, is that you can't be invested in outcomes. What you have to be invested in is doing the right thing. And you often hear successful people talk about the process. Hugo Broos is saying, guys, there is a way to be successful. If you don't do that more often than not, you will not be successful. And he's not compromising on his process. Now, it doesn't guarantee success, but what it does do, it gives you the opportunity to be close, if not in the big time. You'll be close more often than not by having a good process. And I love this for South Africa because the standard is the standard. I love this for these young players. I think it'll take them to a whole new level, whether they realize it now or not. Don't know what you think.
Exactly that. I mean, it's a bit like Carsley coming. I mean, Carsley, whenever the way he's treated his players, and he basically, there's discipline and there's love and there's respect for them. And Broos is doing the same thing. He's trying to build that sort of the team spirit, that team family atmosphere, almost like make it a club team. I think that's what he's trying to do, make Bafana a club team and have the guys have that same sort of dedication they do for their the people who pay their regular salaries.
0788 Is Hugo Broos right to send star midfielder Jayden Adams home? Or is it too harsh? Is it not the South African way? What do you think? You can be a part of this conversation, because I was so surprised by how taken aback so many supporters were. They say, no, we need the star player. It is that old mentality of, because he's a better player, you let him get away with more. Hugo Broos is saying it's a new dawn, it's a new time here. But then Broos has said it's his fault. He's allowed complacency to sneak in. And I loved what the way you said it now, was that he kind of feels like the type of guy who is that patriarchal figure. And as you said, it feels like Fergie, as you said, a club team. It's like, hey, here we do it my way. And whether people like it or not, in sport, the only way to get it done, you saw it with Jurgen Klopp, you saw it with Jose Mourinho, the only way to really win at the very, very top is to be a dictator. I'm sorry, this idea that everybody must be inclusive, take that nonsense to your Montessori school. At the very top, there are no life lessons at the top. You need to be a dictator, as Fergie and Pep Guardiola and Klopp have recently done. So I really like that point you made there, Kevin, because I think it's the only way to be successful.
Well, exactly that. And he keeps, we're fighting to make AFCON. We're fighting to make a World Cup. We're not fighting to entertain 40,000 people in PE or 30,000 people in Durban. They're fighting to make the top of the football world, to go to a World Cup, to go to AFCON, to become better than the bronze medal finishers they were a couple of years ago. So, yeah, they're fighting to be the best, and that's what you've got to be. You've got to act like the best to be the best.
I love that. And you know what I like about Hugo Broos coming out and saying this? Whether he's an old wise man. He's seen a lot of things, and he's probably seen more in football than I will ever see in my life. There's a bit of psychology to this, and I'm doing a bit of pop psychology, but what he's doing by putting it on himself is, with young people, when you set standards for them and you kind of create a safe environment, is when you put it on them, it's better for young people, because with young people, you got to make it feel like it's their idea, especially in this day and age. And I like that he's putting it on himself, because what he's really saying is, hey, Jayden, I can't do more. He's not saying that out loud, but what he's saying is, I can't do more. And now you're making me look bad. And Jayden will know that. I think they'll probably have a conversation behind closed doors where Hugo Broos is willing to take it on himself. But what he's really saying is, Chief, I can't do more for you, young man. You've almost got to want it more than I do for you. Because at the end of the day, at the top level, right, is nobody can want success in life for you more than you want it for yourself. Hugo Broos is a busy man. He's got Safa to deal with. He's dealing with Danny Jordan, and this side he's dealing with CAF, and this time he's dealing with sponsors, and he's dealing with the media. He does not want to be holding a millionaire's hand. What he's saying is, I'll create an environment for you to be successful on the football pitch. But the rest of the time, you're a grown-up. Get on with it. You've got an agent. You've got PR people. It's not my fault. I absolutely love the way Hugo Broos is playing this out in the way. So I guess the next question becomes, should he continue to operate this way? Can Bafana Bafana become a powerhouse again? For me, that becomes interesting, is because I'm sick and tired of going, Shame, they tried. In South Africa, we do this thing of, Bazamila Bafana. No. Cut that crap. I'm so there are no prizes for trying. Again, this is not ring-a rosies where everybody gets a medal at the end of the inter-high or primary school athletics day that's happening now. This is cutting-edge international sport. As has been mentioned by Kevin McCallum now, is we are fighting to go to AFCON. We are fighting to go to the World Cup. This is not age group sport. This is the pinnacle. What are we doing here with softy approach? So I think, can we become a powerhouse again here? We need to ask that question.
I think we can. It's about the want and the need to do it, and the fact that let's say what Bafana, they call them the boys, but they're not boys. They're supposed to be men, and their real name is South Africa. That's who they are playing for. They're playing for us. They're playing for our ID books, our passports, our pride. our way of life, our love of sport. You know, they're different than AFCON. Congo's 29th coming up. We should be smashing teams like that.
We really, really should be. You know, as I think of Bafana Bafana's pickle, I'm thinking, you know, if you've got siblings, I think you'll understand this one. If you've got siblings, like if your sister and brother do well and you live in the same city and your parents are there, it's a little bit awkward because every 2 weeks you have family lunch. Everyone can see that your brother or sister's a doctor and then they're getting married and their life's getting better. And sometimes it's awkward. It's like, what are you doing? You know, it would be better if the Springboks were being successful and they were Australia, you know, because then we wouldn't really have this thing of like, no, but hold on, these guys also live in South Africa and they're the best in the world. So I think what the Springboks, although successful, they're putting a pressure on Bafana Bafana and the Proteas, whether they like it or not, is it's awkward for Bafana Bafana because actually soccer is the most popular sport. But now people are going, yeah, no, Sikren, we're going to go watch the Springboks. And it doesn't matter what color or creed or economic status you come from. Rugby used to be sort of a yuppie sport. But now you're seeing everyone is attracted to the Springboks. And I think there's a very simple reason for that, is that people love winners. It's as simple as that. And that's awkward for Bafana there.
Yeah, I do like, what I like about Hugo Broos is that his transparency with his players. So they know exactly where they stand. You know, so they know that Jayden Adams knows exactly where he stands now. And the rest of them having a little look around and said, hey, would he have done that to Dr. Kula? You know, would he have done that to Phil Masinga? Lucas Khadebe wouldn't have arrived late. Would he have done it to Andre Arndt if he arrived late? Would he have done it to Neil Sovey? Mark Fish? And you think of all those big superstars, and this is a brave move and a big stand. And the transparency he showed is on another level in terms of what he wants and expects and how ruthless he wants his players to be.
Absolutely, because there's another dimension to this, right? When you look at the powerful owners in South African football, it's who? It's Patrice Motsepe, who's a billionaire, and then it's Johan Rupert, who's a part owner of Stellies. You better believe Johan Rupert is going, bloody hell. You know, I'm a billionaire. I want my Stellies players in Bafana. That's good for our brand. But Hugo Broos is not interested in that. And I think that's wonderful, is that he's taking everything, like all the extrinsic stuff, get that out. I want this environment to be like this. Because you better believe the Stellies guys are on the phone to him. There's no ways. I know how football works. There is no ways the Stellies management hasn't been on the phone to say, this is not how we do it here. And he's going, guys, I got to go. I've got a meeting with whatever it may be. I love that. I love that he's been able to resist the pressure. Let's finish off on this one here. It's been an interesting thing for me. You know, the Hervé Renard, who looks like he looks like a bit of a Gucci model. If you don't know who he is, he's that guy famous for his white shirts, those crisp white shirts and his flowing locks. He's come back into African football. We've seen Cameroon have employed a European coach. South Africa have an old European coach as well. Why are these European coaches coming to Africa? Are we not developing coaches or what's going on?
I just think it's also not developing trust in African coaches. We keep talking about it throughout the years. You think back to Dimitri's job at the days. It's just an absolute lack of trust in black coaches, I think. You know, we always look for they're not second-rate European coaches, but they are not Jurgen Klopp. No, when we did have the great Brazilian coach Carlos Pereira, I think, yeah, we had him. You know, when we had great coaches, we looked like a great team. But you know, yeah, I do think sometimes we settle for second best in South Africa.
We settled for second best, says Kev McCallum, 07887716. That's a question I'd like to put out to people. Why do South African and why do African teams go and employ these second, third-rate European coaches and not have African coaches? Are we to blame in Africa for not trusting, number one, and not developing, number two, our own talent on these shores? That question has to be asked because that influx of old coaches is coming back again from West Africa, in the Maghreb, right down here to Sub-Saharan Africa. Why is that trend happening again? African coaches, where art thou? All right, tell you what, I want to make some money for this weekend. We'll have our bets. Kev, I don't want you to lose confidence about the past. Let's just look forward. We're going to bet moving forward because we're going to make some money this weekend. Coming up, Kev's 5 bets.
Listen live and on demand.
Welcome to Omni Sport.